Welcome to Silas Maths, the best place to learn mathematics. Kindly like, subscribe, and share, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell. See you in class.
Hello friend, welcome back to class. Yes, like I told you in our previous class that we're going to be talking about rationalization of surds, okay? Then, before we jump into that, okay, let's take the first part. Let's say we have something like this. How do I rationalize? Let's say, for example, I have example 1, rationalize 2 root 3. How do I rationalize 2 root 3? It's very easy. That's the simplest thing someone can ask you to rationalize. So rationalization simply means we should just eliminate the square root at the denominator. That's the main aim of rationalizing. When you talk about rationalization, our aim is to make sure that the denominator of this fraction doesn't have anything like square root. So how do I remove the square root? Of course, remember that the surd multiply itself is going to give us a square root of a number multiply itself is going to give us the number in the square root. So to eliminate this is very easy. Just multiply, do this. Multiply the numerator and the denominator by what? Square root of what? The denominator. Yeah. We are not changing the surd. We are simply multiplying this thing by 1 because this divided by this will still give us the same surd. So no change. Just trying to make sure that the problem is written in another form. So doing this now will give us 2 times this is going to give us 2 root 3. While this times this is going to give us 3. Is that not it? Yes, that is it. So this is the answer. I've rationalized that. I've eliminated what or removed the square root at the denominator. Simple. 2. Rationalize this. We have it's nothing else. Okay, let me say 2 root 3 over, let me see, 3 root 2, something like this. Okay, how do I rationalize this? Very simple. So to do that, I will just multiply the numerator and the denominator by the what? The square root of what I have here. So simple. I'm going to have something like this. So I have 2 root 3 over what? 3 root 2. Then I'll multiply it by what? Square root of 2 over what? Square root of what? 2. Simple. This will eliminate the square root at the denominator. So this time this is going to give me what? 2 square times this is going to give me what? 3 times what? 3 times 2. Yeah. So 3 times this, I have my 3 already, but this 2 times itself is going to give me what? 2. So I have times 2. So I'll go ahead and then simplify further. I'm going to have of course 2 root 6 all over. This times this is going to give me 6. And I can reduce this further, or I can even go ahead and cancel out these 2, okay? But I can reduce further. 2 here will give me 1, while 2 here is going to give me 3. And my answer is what? Square root of what? 6 over 2. That is this. I've rationalized this. So rationalization of single fractional surd is done this way, okay? So let's talk about rationalization involving, surds like this. Example 3. But anyway, before I talk about, okay, let's say example 3, I have something like this. Rationalize 2 divided by 3 plus root 2. How do I rationalize this kind of surd? Now, there is something we have to consider, and that is the problem, which is this plus this. How do I rationalize this? I have to talk about what we call conjugate of a surd. I didn't talk about it initially, but I think it's nothing to disturb us. We can actually talk about it now. So we have to multiply the numerator and the denominator by the conjugate of the surd of the denominator. Conjugate of the denominator. So what is the conjugate of the denominator? Now, if I have a surd, I think I can write it somewhere here. Conjugate. Let's talk about conjugate this side first. Conjugate of a surd. Now, if I have a sword, let's say a plus root b, what's the conjugate of a plus root b? The conjugate is a. Just change the sign between the number, that's negative root what b. Yeah, that's the conjugate of that. Okay, that's the conjugate. The conjugate of this is this. Simply change the sign between them. Then why the conjugate of what? A plus, okay, a minus root what b is still this a plus root b. So when I want to find the conjugate of sword, simple, just change the sign between them. So for this one, for me to rationalize this sword, I will have to multiply the numerator and the denominator by the conjugate of the denominator. So that is what we're going to do. So the conjugate of this is simply changing the sign. So I'm going to have this 3 plus root what 2 times the conjugate, which is what 3 minus root what root 2 all over what 3 minus root 2. So in doing this, I will automatically eliminate what fractions. So let's go ahead. Numerator multiply numerator, that's going to give me 2 open brackets 3 minus square root of 2. This times this, I have 3 plus root 2 open bracket 3 minus what this. I wish I talked about something before now, so we just okay, but that's fine. So let's open the bracket. Now there's the best way of multiplying conjugates. Okay, now let me just say it. The best way of multiplying conjugate is this. If I want to multiply conjugates, just take the first number, multiply the first number, and then the last one, multiply the last one. That's all. That will give you the answer you need. If you go ahead and expand this, our normal way of expansion, go ahead and try it yourself. You'll see you get the same answer. So let's go ahead and expand. Open the numerator. This time this is going to give me 6. This time this is going to give me negative what 2 root what 2 all over 3 times 3 give me 9. That's a way of expanding conjugate. Don't forget. Then positive root 2 times negative root 2. Of course, you are going to have negative because positive negative is going to give me negative. Then this times itself is going to give me 2. Yeah, that's what we're going to have. Then we'll now have 6 minus 2 root what 2 all over what this minus that is going to give me what 7. So this is my answer. Yes, that is my answer. Okay. So that's it. Just take your time, go through that. We're going to solve more example on that. So let's pick another example. On this we have. Oh, you know what? I think there's no need of solving more example in this class. Let's consider more example in our next class. Yes. So I'm gonna drop some classwork or something you are going to solve, and in our next class we'll consider some other kinds of problems involving this kind of example. So try these ones. Try them out. I have these. Says rationalize the following. A, I have 5 root 7. B, I have 1 root 2 root 7. Then I have C. Let me give you a simpler one. This over 2 plus root 3. Just try these simple problems. Consider this and then do this. In our next class, we'll consider more problems. Yeah. So at this point, we're going to call it a post. If you have not subscribed, please don't forget to do that. And bye for now.